welcome back. So tonight, what we're testing out is this Bushmaster Omnivore multi-tool. We're going to check out. We're going to try as many of these items as we can. Not too worried about like the screwdriver and stuff. All of those can be useful. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to see what we can. We're going to try to make a notch up in here, and we're going to try to see if we can't fashion this into a stake. You know, something you can use for like tents or something, which is a simple camping task that might come in very handy. So, as we know, it does have pliers. So, yeah, we're going to see if we can just break this off real fast. Have the plate here because whatever I break off, I'm going to put in the compost pile. So, okay, so it grips nicely. Pliers, don't seem to have a problem with those. All right, next up, what we're going to do is we're going to try the saw. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and close this up real fast. Now again, this isn't a large saw, but it does have some aggressive looking teeth. I don't know if you can see that. So what we're going to do is, right here, we're going to try sawing into this so that we can start to fashion a notch on this side. So let's see here. Okay, so as you can see, it does kind of saw in. If this was actually attached to a tree, I think it would probably work out really good. Try not to get too much sawdust everywhere, but let's try this just a little bit here. It's not the easiest to use, but it does do a pretty good job. Doesn't require too much effort. And we got about maybe a centimeter in there, which I think will work fine. So, and as you can see here, you got some sawdust. Now, if you're in a survival situation, that sawdust would be good to use for fire starter. Alright, so saw works out pretty good. Alright, next what we're going to do is we're going to try using this knife. And we're going to see how well we can use the knife. Now, one thing about this is that none of this locks in. So if you are using this, you definitely want to make sure that you're closing this handle back up. Because if you try to use it with this handle open like this can close up on you. And if it is sharp, you're not going to be having a good day. However, if you close it up, which is the proper way to use it, yeah, you have like this extra space here, but it's not going to close up on you. So it's a lot safer to just use it like this. So first, let's try a simple test here. Alright, so we'll see how sharp it is to start with. Okay. I'm actually tore down there, but I'm actually pretty impressed with the sharpness of this little blade here. It's not great, but for a multi-tool, I didn't even think it would be that sharp. Alright, so now when you are using this back of this handle here does have some good jimping, so you can get a pretty nice workup on it. So what we're going to try to do is, we have this, we already got our groove cut in. I'm going to try to angle this in here. See if we can't get some. Alright, it doesn't really grip it too good, but we're going to start by getting rid of the bark. So, covering a notch with this. This doesn't work quite as good as the saw did, doing its part. But, so, the knife does a pretty good job. It needs a little bit of work, but, alright, so we're going to try out the file. And we're just going to kind of want to smooth these edges out a little bit here. Because depending on the type of rope you have, if you don't have the best of rope, you don't want it to be getting frayed because of jagged edges. So we're just going to kind of hit this up here real fast. And yeah, that smooths it up really nicely. So yeah, so the file works just fine. Alright, I'm sure like the screwdrivers, I don't need to test the screwdrivers. Screwdrivers are screwdrivers. The Phillips head will probably strip out like every other Phillips head on every other multi-tool I've ever had. So, but I think all in all, as far as a backup tool, I think that this Bushmaster Omnivore multi-tool is pretty good. It's not the best. It's not a Leatherman by any chance. It's not even a Gerber quality. But I think it is better than, let's say, an Ozark Trails quality. So, because I know some of the Ozark Trail ones, they feel like, it's like they're just plastic. They're not really that heavy. This one here, it's heavy. According to it's 2CR stainless steel, so that means it's not going to rust if it gets wet. The spring is pretty nice. It's spring loaded. A lot of times the multi-tools you get are not going to be spring loaded. They're just going to be there. I mean, even like my Gerber, it's not spring loaded. So it's definitely heavy enough. The gimping on the outside is where it needs to be if you're going to be using the saw or the knife. So I think that as far as this goes, and then this was an advanced item. So if you remember, the knife that we actually got in the box was that rigid flip knife, EDC knife, and that one, yeah, it's okay, but it's not the. So I think as far as a backup tool goes, I think that this would be pretty decent. I definitely would not want to rely on this as my primary tool source, whether it's for the saw or the knife. The knife definitely needs some work. You definitely have to sharpen the knife up. The saw has pretty aggressive teeth, but again, I think if this was greener, it would have worked a lot better. But I mean, this is kind of dry wood, but a lot of times you may have to work with dry wood. So I think I would definitely want to put a better edge on the blade. The saw is fine. The file was nothing wrong with the file, nothing wrong with the pliers. I'm sure the screwdrivers are just fine. So I think that for the price, I think that this is a good backup tool. And I think as far as January goes, I think this is probably one of the better items that we got in the SHTF box, although that was a great box from overall. I mean, well, actually the water filter is probably the crown jewel, but I think that this one will definitely make it to the end of our year. Yeah, I think this one will definitely make it to the end of the year. Unless, of course, we get a better one.